Hey, good evening, Denver Broncos fans. It's Tuesday at 7 o'clock. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining us. Man, I'm excited, man. I think we got a fantastic show planned for you. We got myself. My name is Keith Brugman. I'm the host of the show, as well as we have three hosts of this show, really. We got over to the side of me over here. I'm always terrible, left, right, or otherwise. We got the Dutchie just to the side of me here, though. Welcome in, Mile. Hi, Dutchie.
Goedenavond allemaal.
For all of you that don't
Uh,
speak English, that might have translated. What do you got to say for us, though, Albert?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. Man, you got to give us that follow up on that introduction, man. Give us the right after, man. I'm hoping. What language again?
Dutch.
That is Dutch. So hopefully someday we have a huge Dutch following. And every time you do that, we'll just like blow up the comment field with like, a bunch of words that I can't read. I don't know what they're saying. I can't put up on the screen because I don't know if they're saying something bad. No. I appreciate it. Welcome in, Dutchie. Appreciate you being part of the show. And this one's an easy. Right below me, we got the judge, Jody Moncrief. Welcome in, Jody. How you doing, bud? Oh, Jody has been a little bit choppy on the internet, so you're back, Jody. If you want to
back.
welcome yourself in here, buddy.
What's up, everyone? Sorry, it's really windy here tonight, and I don't know if that's messing with the internet or not.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Certainly seems like that's always the case when the weather rolls in. Going to affect your internet. We'll get the judge in here. We'll hang with you, buddy. Don't worry. We got you covered. If you happen to go a little bit silent, we'll step in. And hey, just want to jump in. We already got the comments flying in here. Gentleman saying, hey, what's up? I will be there September 17th. I imagine he's talking about the Mile High because we're all in three different areas of the country right now. But joining in the festivities in Denver, I'd have to look up the game. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but man, I imagine that's why you're going to be there. And I imagine you'll be rooting on your Broncos. And that's what we're all about, guys. It's the Denver Bronco Roundup. You guys are all Broncos fans. And by the way, while we're all here, if you guys can like, share, subscribe, that means a ton to us. That helps us out so much. It helps us get to more Broncos fans like you guys, and just helps us grow and helps us bring even better content to you guys. So appreciate you guys jumping in. Got evening, guys. Smash that like button and share, guys. Thank you very much. And I wanted to hit this too. We didn't get to this before we got off the air last week. Of course, every Thursday or at 7 p.m. We're jumping on the airwaves here, and it says, "How was your guys' Memorial Day weekend?" I just want to say first off, thank you to all the service members, past and present, that are serving out there. That's what Memorial Day is really all about. I have a good cousin of mine that is more like a brother to me. He served in the services. His wife, who he met there, obviously served in the services, in the Army services. So, and now is a law enforcement. And just even close to me. That's about as close as it gets to me. But gosh, we got to be happy for the world we live in. It may not be perfect, but we certainly live in a better one than most. So, how was your guys' Memorial Day weekend, Albert? How was yours?
It was very busy for us. We are packing because we are in the process of moving, so that's good. And yesterday we went to our college that our company has, and high school, online high school, and in total they had over 1,200 graduates.
Oh wow.
So there were 125 were at this location present, and they are from all over the United States.
That is fantastic, man. That's what a great weekend in a completely different way than
Yeah.
most would expect. So, I just want to get Clayton is jumping in, and he's saying, Clayton, man, what's up with my name not showing? Clayton, there is a little thing that StreamYard pops up and says, hey, can we use your identity? I know that seems a little bit weird. If you don't want to do that, do like you just did there, man. Just tell us who you are. and we'll get you in the comments. So, Clayton, I'm glad that you're in here. Sounds like you're the one that's going to be in Denver going up against Washington. It'll be his very first game, guys. So, very first game. I've had one. I know Albert's had one. Jody, you've had a very first game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. How was your Memorial Day weekend? And then maybe we'll get to who our game was against, our very first game after that. How's that?
No, it was good. We went, drove down to New Mexico.
Wow.
Brother and sister-in-law lived down there, so just hung out down there.
Very good. Well, this is the downside of not knowing exactly who is going where, but I'm happy that somebody is getting to Denver, going to see the Washington Commanders come to town so we can put the whooping on them. So whoever you happen to be, appreciate it a ton, and I'll try to get up on the comments. Unfortunately, StreamYard's really bad about letting me know if we haven't gotten there as well. So he says it's I live in California and it is my dream coming true. Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome. Jody, who was your first game against? Jody?
Mine was against the San Diego Chargers. It was I'll never forget it. Elway was like 100 and some yards away from hitting 50,000, and he ended up being hurt and missing it.
Very
That
good,
was my
man.
first game, but
That was your first
it was
game.
all in all, it was good.
Fantastic. Albert, you're first?
My first game was against the Jets 2 years ago, where we delivered them really a nice butt whooping. Can I say that?
Yeah, we can say a butt whooping. Yeah, put a little licking on them. That's all right, man. Appreciate you keeping it clean. Mine was against the Saints. It was the year the Saints won the Super Bowl, but we gave them one of their losses. So that was fantastic, man. That was awesome to see, man. In a year that we may have not hit all our aspirations, it's always good when you beat the Super Bowl winner, in my opinion. So, all right, guys. For all of you that don't know, we are brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Head over to Rocky Mountain Sports Network, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be their website, because they've been posting up a lot more articles, got some stuff coming up on the Nuggets. Those who follow the Rockies, they're an all Colorado sports network, and they bring to you the Denver Bronco Roundup as well. Also, guys, we're brought to you by Willow Seasonings and Blends. Spice up your life. WillowSeasonings.com is the place. Just once again, I'll have to get the rundown, but came away with award winners across the board for almost every seasoning and sauce he put into a competition just as of recently. I think the highest was 5th, but when you're in a competition with over 70 people submitting, when you come in 5th, that's pretty dang good in a barbecue competition. Anyway, if you head over to WillowSeasonings.com, you got fantastic seasoning, spices, rubs, and sauces. You type in DBR 2023, that gets you 15% off, guys, and helps a family out over at the Rocky Mountain Sports Network as well. So, gentlemen, we got to get in here and we got to start talking about the content now. Man, there's been a lot of stuff flying around. We had to put up our little ad a little bit ago, and topic number 1 that we really want to get to, as we've been breaking down the position groups week by week. We'll be doing this. This is a pretty big position group. I think there's quite a bit to talk about. Some of these weeks we might be doubling up, but this week it's the wide receiver group. I'll be honest, I did quite a bit of homework on our guys. I might have to rely on you guys a little bit when it comes to where we're going to rank in the AFC West, because that's what we're doing, guys. We're ranking them Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, or are they a Tier 4 group? Man, Jody, this is kind of your baby. This is what you wanted to get into. Let's start off with you, buddy. What do you want to bring to the forefront? How are you feeling about the Broncos wide receivers, and how does that translate to the entire AFC as well? And I think Jody might be frozen again.
I'm back.
He's back. All right, very good, buddy.
We can start. Denver's really deep at wide receiver. I mean, they don't have what I would call elite wide receivers, but I think they have a solid 1, 2, 3. And they just drafted with their first third-round pick, Marvin Mims. I think that puts some wide receivers on notice. KJ Hamler, Montel Washington. And they are really deep. They've brought in the likes of Marcus Callaway, who knows this offense, one of Sean Payton's guys, little Jordan Humphreys, one of Sean Payton's guys. Um, and I think there's going to be some good players cut off this roster. I mean, right now on this roster, you have the likes of who I would say are solid: Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, who are set. Marvin Mims set, and then after that, I think it's it's up in the air for three positions. I would say Marcus Callaway is probably the next safest at 5. And then you get into Kendall Hinton, who was probably Denver's most sure-handed, reliable wide receiver last year.
Hmm.
Little Jordan Humphreys, who knows this system. Brandon Johnson, who by all accounts probably would have made the initial 53 last year had he not got hurt in that last game. Jalen Virgil, the speedster, 1 catch for 1 touchdown last year.
Yep.
And then Montel Washington. I think there's going to be a lot of battles for those 5th, 6th, and 7th position.
It's insane, man. There's a lot of guys that are stacking up here, man. A lot of names that we've known, some new names that have obviously been brought in, and some guys that we're hoping that are going to be coming back and playing good and playing healthy. Albert, what do you think about this wide receiver group? This, it's kind of a mashup of different type of guys. We got the Sean Payton guys. We got the rookie that's kind of come in, and as Jody said, kind of stirred up, and we kind of got our guys that we're used to seeing 1, 2, 3 at the top of the depth chart. How do you feel about this group?
I feel pretty confident with them. Judy had the last 5 seasons of the last 5 games last season were very good for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a little bit of a breakout for him. Sutton, yes, I don't know what is going on with Sutton, but he needs to change. If Tim Patrick comes back, because we have him too,
Mm-hmm.
then I think he would be, and he is going to be back the way he was. Then I think he is the number 2 receiver in front of Sutton, because it looks like to me that Sutton has not the heart in it anymore. And so then we have drafted Mims, and I'm going to put a wild card in here, and that is Dulcich. I think Dulcich will get a more of a wide receiver role than the tight end role. We probably will see more 12-man formations, and then probably we see Dulcich probably playing out of the slot more. And then, I think we are pretty good stacked here.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a mix for me. I want to get to a few comments, and I'm trying to double up here real quick. So, Facebook user, and this is Joe actually that's actually coming in. Joe says he lives in California and it's his dream come true. And then later comes in and says, me and my wife got tickets in the 5th row behind the end zone, man. Hopefully you'll be receiving some wide receivers that are jumping into the stands, some Denver Bronco receivers, man. What an awesome vantage point that'll be, bud. I hope you enjoy the game. It's cool no matter where you sit. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what else we got going on here? We got Roy coming in, and he says, hey, Keith, Albert, and Jody. Hey, to Roy. How you doing, man? And let's see. One last one. Michael Ronquillo coming in and saying, good evening, Keith, Jody, and Albert. I don't know what's going on with our comments on my end. I do have a way to see it on through my phone. So, like, again, if I'm looking off to the side, trying to get everybody in here. Appreciate you guys jumping in and being part of the conversation. So, my thoughts on this wide receiver group. And man, I agree with you for a little bit as well. Dutchie, Albert, I think that Sutton has something to prove. But I think this offense, this scheme, this coach is going to be make or break for everybody. A coach that comes in and says, I don't care how you got here. It's about what you do once you get here. Everybody's on notice. Now, whether that pushes Sutton and brings him back to where he was at and what we know he can do, or whether he tails away and Patrick or somebody else goes up and takes that spot in the rotation for him. That's I guess that remains to be seen. I'm hoping it's the first part, where he steps up, where he's back to where he was at before. The one thing that I've been trying to keep my ear to the ground, guys, and a couple of things I just want to talk about this wide receiver group. One, as much as Marvin Mims came in and he started turning heads right off the bat in rookie minicamp, Callaway has come in now and he's starting to get some pretty good looks in OTAs as well. So that's another guy that if you start putting those guys, put pressure on some of these other guys at the very top, I think that the cream will rise to the top. I think we're going to have a great group at the top. I'll be honest. For me, I know we love names. I know we've gotten used to some of these guys. But for me, it's time for a Kendall Hinton or maybe a Jalen Virgil or certainly a KJ Hamler to be moved on from. I think we can start filling the roster with younger, fresher talent that hasn't been predisposed to all the Denver Broncos woes in the past. Maybe much like we did with Brandon McManus as well. I think there's opportunity to continue to turn over the bottom end of this roster in hopes that you continue to be able to bring those guys up and have them producing at a top end. Albert, you have been ringing the bell, but the more and more I hear as well, when we start talking about this wide receiver group, the more I'm hearing about how Dulcich could be a 1,000-yard receiver, but not necessarily lining up out of that normal tight end position, more lining up in that slot. I'm hearing that more and more. I know you've been ringing that bell. I just want to give hats off to you talking about it for weeks now, because now it seems like it's coming to fruition as some of the media is getting a little bit of a look at what's going on in OTAs. So hats off to you, buddy. Nicely done, man. Last thing I wanted to talk about on this wide receiver group, and then we'll go through some tier rankings. Also, just really quick, we got Graham jumping in here too. He said his first game was the Darren Williams game. Rest in peace. And wow, what a game to be associated with. I can't imagine that being more tied emotionally to a team than being tied to an individual like Darren Williams and the way he is held in the regard of Denver Broncos country. What an amazing game. And he says, Marvin Mims, rookie punt returner in 2023, perhaps. And I might have one other guy that you could look at for a punt returner. We'll maybe get to him a little bit later in the program. But, gentlemen, Jerry Jeudy just was recently on I Am Athlete with Brandon Marshall. And one of the things that got me really, really, really excited, there was a lot of stuff that came out of that. But it was one little clip, and I wish I could bring it up or play it back for you. I can't. But it was one little clip, and this is what he said. He said, basically, they were talking about what's getting you excited about Sean Payton and this offense and what's different. And he goes, I can tell you this. We're running splits for the first time since I've been here. And for you, those of you who aren't familiar with the offensive term of splits, it means that he has options in his route. When he doesn't have to be into let's say a dedicated curl, he might be able to break that outside. And he says, this offense is going to be so much less predictable than it has been in the past. Something that we've been looking forward to, guys. You sprinkle that into the top, on top of the fact that he loves to mix and match guys in different positions, i.e. put maybe a Dulcich in the slot, i.e. bring in a little Jordan Humphreys for a series or two, where, again, it's just really exciting to hear that. It's exciting for Jeudy to be excited about that because here's one of the best route runners out there, and will just absolutely, I think, excel in a position where he can, quote unquote, run splits for the first time in the NFL. So, Jody, it looked like you hit that microphone because you wanted to chime in. I'll go back around the horn. What are your thoughts on that? And then maybe give us your tier ranking right now, where you think we rank along the ASC, and we'll get over to Albert as well. And by the way, anybody else out there that wants to chime in when it comes to this wide receiver group, perfect opportunity to jump in and maybe just to give us a tier ranking as well. Before you jump in, I just want to get to one last comment because I did have one pop up, and he says, "This is Mr. Chad Jensen of the Mile High Huddle. Also, bridge the gap and check out an amazing. Yes, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. Yes, we're not worthy. And the reason we say that is because he says, "Talk with y'all soon. Rocketh oneth." And absolutely, Chad. Chad's going to be just a little teaser, guys. Chad might be squeezing himself onto the show for a little guest appearance here in the future. So look for that, and appreciate you, Chad, jumping in tonight. Jody, back to you, man. I'm gonna again that tier ranking and what you thought about Judy's comments on I Am Athlete, at least the ones that I brought up. Like I said, we could have a whole segment, I think, on him being on the show. So,
I like the confidence in him. I think I also heard that he said that he was the best route runner in the NFL. I like that. And that was one of the things when he was drafted that people said he had the best feet and, quick breaks and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a top tier wide receivers. I mean, Cincinnati's up there. You got Chase. You've got T. Higgins. I mean, they're pretty deep. Buffalo, Stephon Diggs. So I think those two are probably the elite teams in the AFC, but I think Denver's a notch below. I think Sutton, he's 2 years coming. This will be 2 years off of that ACL. It's time for him to show that he's worthy of that number one money. Some things I expect from him. I expect him to play more in the slot this year. Some things we've seen like Larry Fitzgerald in the past, a big wide receiver. I think that's some things that will help Russ across the middle.
Be an interesting body type going across the middle, man.
Right.
If he's going, man, that'd be awesome. Go ahead, sorry, man.
And then the back end of this roster, it's really going to, I think, come down to, again, who can play special teams. I mean, that's been a big focus as well. And which of these guys can play special teams? I mean, there are some guys that were 100% locks last year that their seats are really hot this year.
Yeah.
In Montel Washington, who was gifted the returning job and kept as a wide receiver. That's in doubt. KJ Hamler, another injury. He looks like he might miss all of OTA or training camp and stuff. So, and they brought in a similar type in Marvin Mims to replace him, who can return and is a speedster. So when it's all said and done, I think they'll probably keep 7. I think the top 3, like I said, Judy, Sutton, Patrick are locks. Callaway is probably a lock. Marcus Callaway, that's 4. Then you got 3 other positions. Marvin Mims, 5. He's a lock too, 5. And then I'd like to see Jalen Virgil. He had speed, and that's something. Russ likes to throw the ball deep, and I think Peyton is going to draw plays up for that to happen. And then I think it comes down to a couple of guys, Kendall Hinton, little Jordan Humphreys, and what they do with KJ Hamler. Is he ready? Do glimpses we've seen last year. He was explosive, made big plays. He just couldn't stay on the field.
100%. And kind of along those lines, got Graham jumping in here and saying Patrick, Sutton, Hamler have all suffered major injuries as of late, and that's very concerning. Obviously, we want all these guys to be coming back, but it is, a couple of those guys we haven't seen back 100% healthy in about a year now. Graham, just really quick, we are kind of just ranking them against the AFC because the Cowboys do have a solid group. I hate to give any type of love to the Cowboys, but that is certainly true. Got Adam and Kayla jumping in and saying, yo, family, and let's go. So appreciate you jumping in here to Adam and Kayla. And again, I'm trying to pull this up. I know as I'm throwing you guys' comments up on the screen, it's not coming up with your name. I am looking at it through my phone. Roy is the one that's coming in here and saying, my rankings is Judy's number 1, Sutton number 2. Patrick number 3. Jody, where was your official tier ranking again? I apologize. I've been trying to multitask here. And he'll come back with his official tier, maybe.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have him as a tier 1. I have him in a solid tier 2.
Solid tier 2. All right, buddy.
But I think Russell Wilson can put him in a tier 1 if he gets back to form like he was. I think and I know he's not a Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes has never had elite wide receivers, and he turns them into elite wide receivers when they're in Kansas City. And I think Russ can do that with some of these guys.
That's an interesting point. I'll maybe bring that back up in my evaluation.
One other thing I didn't bring up that I think you could see
last point.
Training camp starts and stuff as injuries happen. You could see Sutton or somebody moved.
Yeah.
I mean, we are so deep. It's going to be hard to. You're going to have to cut some good players.
Yeah, with the players that obviously were brought in via Sean Payton that know the system, along with the talent that we have and the talent that we have coming back, I could see that. It was Clayton that was jumping in here and agreeing with you strongly, saying for him we're a top 5. That would put him right in tier 2, number 5. That would put him at the very top of tier 2. Albert, over to you, man. Thanks for being patient with us. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, no worries. So I have them as a tier 2 as well, but in the second position, so 6th position, and this is what is very intriguing to me. Now, if they do splits, I don't think that Russell has to hold on to the ball as long as you used to do last year, because now he will have open players, because they will go different directions that defenders are not expecting, and I think we will see a much more top elite wide receiver core because of what is happening in their offense right now. Yeah. And if you're unpredictable, then it is going to be predictable for your own quarterback.
100%, buddy. I'm going to Michael Ronquillo's jumping in, and thank you, Michael, for joining the show as well. He's saying Sean Payton was ranked the 5th head coach in the NFL by Pro Football Focus, and that wraps me right back around to something that Jody said and something I wanted to bring up. Jody said that Patrick Mahomes doesn't always have elite wide receivers, but he makes them happen on the field. And he said, I'm not trying to compare Russ to Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes is the top of the league. Whether we want to agree or not, he's probably the number 1 QB on 90% of all people's lists. It's just the way it is. But I will say this. I wouldn't put it all at the feet of Patrick Mahomes. I put at least a portion of it at the feet of Andy Reid. And that being said, when you have, as Michael Ronquillo put it in here, Sean Payton, the number 5 head coach in the league, he was brought in for a reason. And this offensive system, like Albert is talking about, is what's going to make this offense produce like we haven't seen. Splits are just one piece of that puzzle. And from the sounds of it, it's all wrapped up tight as far as what the media is able to talk about. So don't expect to hear a lot as far as what this looks like. But it sounds like it's awfully dang exciting. And I'm excited to have Sean Payton as our head coach. That being said, when I come to my tier ranking, guys, my biggest concern is what you guys are talking about. We're still waiting for Sutton to come back. We don't know how Patrick is. He's in his jersey and in his helmet, but he's not participating per se from what I've gathered. You know, we have KJ Hamler. We have coming back from injury. Obviously, Montrell Washington is a big question mark from last year as well. I mean, Mims is a brand new rookie wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. It's probably one of the easier positions to translate and get up to speed on in the NFL is wide receiver in comparison to a lot of other positions. But for me, you got to put him in the tier 2. I don't know if I put a ranking on him, but I'd probably put him mid to low tier 2 until proven otherwise. Now, if Sutton comes back like he came back, if Patrick comes back and he's 95+%, you know, if Mims Jr. comes in and he's clicking with this group and everything's looking great, you know, I mean, yeah, you could certainly elevate this to a tier 1 in my opinion. But, you know, until proven that, I have to say it's a mid-tier 2, maybe even a lower tier 2, because you just don't know. You just don't know. And man, I could be looking back at the end of this and being, man, I'm glad everything fell into place, and here we are, top of tier 1. I'm loving it because I think there's also that potential with this offense, with Sean Payton, with this wide receiver group, given the talent, if they're healthy on the field, producing like they can be, like they possibly absolutely can be. And I agree with what he said. I think Jerry Jeudy, you go back and you look at especially that Alabama tape, he is an elite route runner, guys. We haven't seen it here so much in Mile High Country, but he is fantastic given the opportunity. So there you go. That's my tier ranking, guys.
One thing that ties in too with these receivers is Russell Wilson. I mean, you hear a lot of people, oh, he missed tons of wide receivers last year. I didn't see him when he would throw the ball to wide receivers missing them. He was missing just not throwing them the ball when they're wide open. There's a difference.
Correct.
He wasn't throwing two wide receivers and just way behind them missing them.
Yep.
He was just missing them, throwing them the ball. And I think that's something Peyton is he will coach that and all that.
Yeah, he'll coach it up, freezing up just a little bit, Jody. So I'll just fill in here for a second. Sean Payton, I'll be honest, guys. We'll maybe get into this on another episode, but Sean Payton is either going to get what he needs out of Russell, or he's going to move on from Russell. And there's reasons for that, especially given near the end of this year and certainly next year. But there's also, I believe, with Jared Stidham coming in and the contract we gave him, there's a reason. I also want to just hit real quick because we have Clayton coming in here and saying, great show as always, smash the like button, and as always, on the way out, long day of work tomorrow, tomorrow night, and Broncos country. So Clayton, appreciate you joining us. Sorry I stumbled all over that comment, but like you said, as always, I'm going to try that again. Great show as always. Smash the like button on the way out. Long day of work tomorrow and tomorrow night, Broncos country. So there you go. That sounded a lot better, man. I'm sorry about that. Appreciate you joining the show. And yeah, absolutely, guys. Like, share, love, subscribe. Get us in front of more Broncos country, because if you like us, maybe they like us too, and we'd love to have you all on board every Thursday night. So, all right, guys. Like I said, lots of topics we do want to get to, so let's move to the second topic, I guess, of the evening. Gentlemen, right now we're sitting pretty good. Last time I looked, we have every single draft pick signed in the house. We got obviously all our free agents all lined out early. You know, guys like McGlinchey and Powers that joined us, all the way down to guys like Little Jordan Humphreys that were brought in. We got $8.9 million to play around with at this point, which is pretty good money after moving on from the Brandon McManus contract. And boy, June 1st. It's funny, I was talking to my wife right after we got off the show last week, and I said, man, June 1st seems so far away. We started talking about post-June 1st cuts. And I'm like, man, can we wait that long? And then I realized it's like 10 days away.
June 1st.
It's June 1st now, like in just a few days. At the time, it was like 10 days away. It was amazing how quick it creeped up on me. So I know this was a topic that I believe Albert wanted to talk a little bit more about this one. So I wanted to bring this to him first. And $8.9 million to spend, man. What do you think's going on out there, buddy?
I think we might see a surprise release of one of the players that could save us about $8 million. So that would be, and then you have all of a sudden $16 million.
Wow.
And then you have a player like Dalvin Cook coming, because I have an idea that we're gonna be running, and we're gonna be running hard, and we have Jeff Hunted not 100% starting the season, or maybe not even starting at all. So I think we need another first running back in the backfield, and I think that is something that might happen.
Well, I can't let you have a teaser out there without giving some type of an idea. A surprise 8.8 million just comes off the books, buddy. Where do you think that comes from? Any idea?
You tell me.
I tell you, I have no idea, man. Are you talking about moving on from like a Cortland Sutton or something like that?
Yep.
I haven't. Okay, I was like, I don't have the math of the numbers in front of me, buddy. But yeah, I knew it had to be someone big, man. So you think there's a potential move on from Cortland Sutton, better paving the way for a contract that Dalvin Cook might demand?
Yeah, because if they would cut him before June 1st, the money gap would be way too big, and
Yeah.
after June 1st is about half. So I think that's why they are waiting till, and there will be teams that will be in need of a Cortland Sutton, and they can get him for cheaper.
Wow. It's amazing because one of the things that was the concern is how do you structure a contract with Dalvin Cook? What is he going to demand? That does all go all out the door if all of a sudden you move on from a Cortland Sutton, you have that extra cap space to spend. Jody, I want to bring it over to you, man. You have 8.9 million out there to spend, man. How you spending it, buddy? If you're with us, you maybe
No, I'm here.
no. Oh, all right, very good. Head down. I wasn't sure. You're so still sometimes, buddy, man.
Oh, I was trying to I, two positions. I think. I mean, it looks nice seeing Javonte Williams out there running and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very cautious.
Yep.
Um, Running back, Dalvin Cook. I don't know what's going to happen up there in Minnesota. In my opinion, I think they're crazy if they let him go. But and my Kareem Hunt's still out there. That's a name. I was never really a fan of the off-field stuff, but from all accounts, he's turned it around.
Yeah. Been quiet.
And edge. You don't need a starter. You don't need someone. You just need a situational guy that can come in and rush the passer. Someone, that came in, and I go back to whatever that was, 2013, when they brought in Sean Phillips who used to
Oh,
play for the
wow.
Chargers,
Yeah.
and he would come in and he would
Third
make
down.
plays and stuff, third down and stuff. Yanni Adakwe's out there, Frank Clark. Those are two names that come to mind right for me. And then if they're gonna go bold, I think they're gonna save a little more money because I don't see Lloyd Cushenberry and
Fuller.
both being on this roster. I think the rookie, Forsyth is gonna either be your starter or your backup, and one of those two is your starter or backup.
Wow.
So that saves you some money there. And then I can see it later maybe, but I've almost given up on the trading Cortland Sutton, because if they were going to salary dump him, they could have salary dumped him for a 7, or somebody would have been willing to give that, and they haven't got that. So I think they see something there more than just a salary dump.
That's fair enough. Like you said, the logistics might not work out for it to be a salary dump. Obviously, post June 1, you do get a little savings, obviously, on just about any big contract. So that would help out the Broncos if maybe things just didn't line up. But at the same time, want to move on from this particular player, want to bring somebody else up into that position. That's always a possibility. We've seen. Well, we're talking about Dalvin Cook, who's not necessarily the bottom of the heap type of running back across the NFL, being possibly one of those guys as well. So, got to get in here. Kenny's joining us to show from the great K&K show, and also brought up that my mind has been a little bit frazzled because I know that I've made a couple of references now, and I don't know where it came from, but I digress. From my frazzleness to get to Kenny's comment. He says Monday Night Football has Aikman and Buck and the Manning brothers, but Tuesday night we have Brugman, Moncrief, and Knoppers. Simply the best Broncos talk on earth. Well, thank you, Kenny. The comment that do a little mile high salute to Kenny, even though he's not the biggest Broncos fan. He's a great supporter of the show, and I appreciate it very much. He brought up the fact that this is Tuesday night, not Thursday night, as I think I've said twice now on this show. I don't know why I had Thursday night in my head, but it is Tuesday. All the days are honestly, guys. I've worked like 14 days straight at my job, so they've all just blended together. So I appreciate you being here on Tuesday, and I appreciate Kenny being here. Kenny has the K&K Sports Show. He's half of that K&K Sports Show. Check those guys out, man. They cover all sports, all 4 major sports. They're not just Colorado based. So if you're right now, if you're trying to stay up on hockey, if you're looking at some Yankees baseball, maybe, if you're looking for some, especially those East Coast sports, check them out. I mean, obviously they'll be talking all about the Heat and the Nuggets, as go Nuggets. We're excited about that because they cover NBA as well, guys. But K&K Sports Show, check them out, man. Fantastic stuff, and they've got more and more shows popping up. You can check them out on Facebook, YouTube, I think Instagram, Twitter, any place that you can necessarily find, a great podcast like the K&K Sports Show. Check them out. Kenny, Kurt, and a bunch of other great guys out there do a fantastic job. So that being said, gentlemen, where were we at? We were at...
I got some numbers for Cortland Sutton. If you
okay.
If you cut him post June 1, cutting him makes no sense. You eat 17, almost 18 million, you save 441,000.
Oh.
So cutting him makes no sense.
It'd have to be a trade for...
trade post June. That's where your savings is. If you trade him post June 1, you save 14 and a half, and you eat almost 4. So you...
About 10 million?
10 million.
Yeah.
A little over 10.
And to be honest, given all the... I guess there hasn't been a lot of traction around Cortland Sutton being traded, at least not for high value like the Broncos wanted. You might be having to eat a little bit of that salary yourself in a trade.
And that's the problem. I mean, his cap number is 18.2. I mean, it's such a high number for not any... I mean, DeAndre Hopkins just got released, and he is a much better wide receiver, and I don't think he's getting 18 million on the open market right now. So...
No, the wide receiver market 2 years ago was absolutely blowing up, and honestly, the Broncos got in front of what looked like a huge spike in wide receiver money, and it fell off the cliff, guys. OBJ got paid, nobody else. That's the story of this offseason for wide receivers. What I wanted to get to, guys, Dalvin Cook is a good name, but I wanted to bring up a couple other names that are potential post-June first cuts, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. First one is a linebacker out of Baltimore, and after Roquan Smith already got paid the big bucks, they didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Patrick Queen. And I liked myself some Patrick Queen back in the day. Would certainly maybe give us the linebacker that, quote-unquote, we've been looking for. What are your thoughts about bringing in a guy like Patrick Queen, who's, again... He's right now, I guess, on a prove-it year. 5th year wasn't picked up, so he's in his 4th year and his 5th year kind of hanging out there, I guess. So, wouldn't be too expensive. What are your thoughts on Patrick Queen? Jody, I'll start with you, buddy.
I mean, I think he's a good player. I mean, I wanted him the year that we took Noah Fant.
Yeah.
And, but we drafted Drew Sanders, and from all accounts, I mean, he blew it up in his first little mini camp.
Okay.
And he was making plays, and I want to see where that goes. And I want to see a healthy he was a starter last year till he hurt his arm last year. I want to see what Jonas Griffith can still do.
Okay.
I still think they like him a lot. And then you have 2 above-average linebackers in Singleton and Jewell. They're not elite, but Alex Singleton's a tackling machine. He didn't start the first, 3 or 4 games, and he was like number 4 in the NFL in tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, he tackles, and it got him paid. And same with Josie Jewell. I mean, after the foot injury, he came back. When he had 2 interceptions against Patrick Mahomes that game, he's just a solid player. There's no big names for Denver at linebacker, but that's a position I think is really solid
Very good,
on this
Albert.
roster.
Albert, what are your thoughts on Patrick Queen? Are you in agreement with Jody? Am I barking up the wrong tree with the depth we have there?
I do think I do not know much about Queen, but I do think we have a pretty decent linebacking unit, and Josie Jewell. He is the scenario master over there. He knows how to coordinate the field,
Hmm.
so he is very good at that. And I think that is one of the reasons why Singleton is also good,
Yeah.
because Josie Newells has a really good eye for the field that's coming up.
Okay.
And then with the new kid that we just drafted, yeah, he looks like he's going to be phenomenal.
Well, one thing I never could understand is last year the narrative. Well, these guys can't cover and tight ends just kill us. I didn't see any tight end go off on Denver last year, really. I
No,
mean, yes, tight ends make catches, and in years past, yes, tight ends have destroyed this linebacking core. But last year, I had never seen a tight end put huge numbers up on Denver.
no, I didn't feel dominated last year, and as people pointed out, if you're gonna pick on us and say that Kelsey goes off from time to time, Kelsey goes off from time to time on everybody.
Right.
That he's like one of those impossible guys to cover. So yeah, you do your best, but every now and then you're gonna get taken advantage of. He's gonna put one over the top. Kenny coming in and saying Patrick Queen is solid. I think he would be a nice upgrade in my opinion at linebacker. But I got a name, and I'll start off with Albert that I liked even better. I'll be honest, and it'd be actually a return for the Denver Broncos. And I don't think it's a name that most people have thought about. But Shaq Barrett is a likely cut from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's due $21.3 million this year. That's not going to happen. If they cut him, it saves him $14.6 million overall. So there's still plenty of reasons to move on, even if you are, eating what's that $7 million in cap space. You gain 14.6. Jody just talked about edge rushers. What do you think about bringing back Shaq Barrett back to Mile High Country, Albert?
Oh, I would really enjoy that. Not only because of the history that he has, but also the experience. We have now a veteran rusher in the facility who can teach those guys a little thing or two. And when he was there with Von Miller, they were wrecking. They were wrecking balls. And now you can have, I know can have that experience in the locker room. That is more than the $7 million worth.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, obviously, as these guys get post-June cuts and they're just out there on the market, what they'll demand and what they're expecting to get paid, and where they want to go, and for some of these guys, it's aspirations of Super Bowls only, and some it's playing with the right coaches, the right scheme. But Jody, your thoughts around Shaq Barrett coming back to Mile High Country?
I'm not against it. I think Denver is set at starters, and that's why I've been more of a get a role guy. I really want to see what Baron Browning can do this year. I think behind Patrick Surtain, I think he is one guy that's going to go off this year. Expect.
And I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Sorry, Baron Browning.
Baron Browning. Okay, very good.
One guy that I need to see what he can do. I think he's going to have a huge year this year. And you're paying Randy Gregory so much money. This is a make or break every year. Either stay healthy or goodbye.
Yeah.
And Shaq Barrett's coming off a torn Achilles. That's huge. I don't know. That's a rough injury to come back from. So
it is.
And like you said, his salary cap is just huge. Tampa's going to have to eat a lot of money for him to be an option for Denver.
Well, again, if they just post-June cut him, they'll send him to the street at that point. He's cut. He's released at that point. that would save them 14.6. They would eat 7.1 because he's due 21.3 this year. So, or 7.
And I would be interested to know what his feelings are with Denver. They kind of let him walk. They never really paid him with production. Drafted Shane Ray, kind of gave him treatment over Shaq Barrett, who was here and homegrown. Brought DeMarcus Ware in, who was older, kept him around even after the Super Bowl. So, be interesting to see. I'd be interested to know how he really truly feels about how. Now I know it's different management now, but how he feels about this organization.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I think now it becomes a little bit more about who's in place now. It's like you said, it's a completely different regime. Everybody's turned over. Heck, McManus was the last guy he probably maybe played with. So,
but Colorado was home for him. He played, and with the Broncos, so he may want to come back home.
Yeah, I got Lawrence Rivera jumping in too and says, "Oh, sorry, I got had another comment jumping right in front of that." He says, "If we bring back Shaq back, we'll be Super Bowl bound." In my words, he should have been MVP, not Brady. Yeah, I mean he did. He played lights out in that Super Bowl, guys, and he was in contention for, statistically one of the better performances of that Super Bowl. So, 100%.
That's the only thing for me. If you bring him back, what are you? He's coming in here to start, or is going? You would assume, are you not starting Randy Gregory, who you're paying huge money to? Are you giving up on Baron Browning already?
It would have to be that Baron Browning, Jonathan Cooper position. I think that he'd be flexing out, and maybe that's again, maybe you're doing the same thing that you did for one of those guys that you did for Shaq Barrett, and that's the fact that when he was let go and he went to Tampa Bay, it was the fact that he was able to go out there and maybe be able to do something, for himself because he wasn't going to get the playing time here in Denver. Well,
Right.
that I would force that same situation, in my opinion. Albert, quick comment, and then I'm going to wrap up with one last piece, bud.
We could use a little bit depth because if one of them, because Browning had a lot of injuries last year, Gregory had a lot of injuries, Cooper had injuries. So yeah, if we can have 3 seasoned players on a field at any time, then we can have some injuries, and that's my point. A little
I
depth.
appreciate it. Yeah, it's an interesting predicament we'll put him in. I know that again, I think I mentioned this last week. I feel like I'm talking out two sides of my mouth. In the wide receiver room, I said, hey, maybe we churn that bottom end and we bring in new faces and rookie faces and get rid of some old faces. And now I'm saying bring Shaq Barrett back and maybe get rid of some of that younger talent and force them out the door. So I understand it's both sides, but Shaq Barrett is such an elite athlete. He has this Denver tie to us. We understand who he is, what a playmaker he is. Sometimes we don't always, as Bronco fans, we might not be tuning into East Coast teams all the time and NFC teams all the time. So we know who Shaq Barrett is. If he came back healthy, it would be an interesting predicament with all like we said, all the edge rushers we do have on this roster, who stays and who goes, but. Boy, I think it would be a formidable piece to bring in, and maybe we are Super Bowl bound at that point.
You've got to see what Baron Browning and Nick Benito can do. You drafted Nick Benito round 2 last year. You've got to see if that's worth something or a wasted pick.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that it was a stretch, as it was, and maybe we shouldn't have taken Nick Benito where we did. Got my sister jumping in. Hey, Leanna, how's it going? And saying, just checking in. Hi to all you guys, though. So, it's not just me, guys. It's you as well. So, it's an interesting. It'll be interesting to see what we're doing. A lot of speculations have been around Dalvin Cook. Right before I got on the show, I was looking up, just trying to get information around it. And there's a lot of talk about Dalvin Cook not being released at this point, though, too. That they said that is heating up. That he goes back to Minnesota, is not released. So, if that's the case, guys. And that was hopefully not our big master plan when we cut McManus and freed up this cap space. But it might still have us with money that we could spend, and it'll be interesting to see where we spend it. I don't think we sit with 8.9 million in the bank for the rest of the offseason. So
With you talking running backs, what are you? Did you see these? You see these little short videos of Javonte Williams? He's running.
yeah, yeah,
Reports he's cutting and stuff.
yeah.
Do you think he's ready week 1, and they are sold that he's going to be ready, and running back is not an issue?
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, it is pretty impressive to see him, and that segues right into our last one of our last segments, guys. And we'll try to wrap it up from here. And that's, you know, as I put in the ad, who's impressing basically in OTA so far as we head into phase 2. We've got through phase 1. Phase 1 was all about lifting. It was all about running. It was all about conditioning. Loved what McGlinchey came out and talked about how that builds your confidence, how it builds that camaraderie. You get bigger, stronger, faster before you even have to worry about picking up a playbook, and what that does for you as an individual. Just makes you feel like you're invincible before you even have to step on the field and line up against another guy. So, that being said, like you said, Javonte is out there, and he's one of those guys that you got to admit is looking pretty good, because no one really expected him to be here at this time, at this place. Some people were saying this is possibly a 2-year injury to come back from, 18 months, 2 years. Experts saying this. And yeah, there's short video clips. It would be amazing, but it seems like more and more amazing things are happening every single year, and who knows what type of treatment he's getting. But man, these guys are coming back. I still harken back to the days of Adrian Peterson coming back so quickly, and that's now decades ago, guys. Decades ago. So it is amazing. I'm going to reserve my right to say I don't know if he's. This is what I'd like to see. This is what I'd like to see him dress for the first game. Now, whether he's utilized or brought in, I'd rather him not in game 1. But to see him dressed on the sidelines, I know it's taking up a spot that's maybe needed, but I would love to see him get to that point. That's what I would like to see. Week 1, Javonte dressed on the sidelines, man. I just want to hit this really quick because Paul Montoya is also jumping in here and saying Denver Broncos are the best. Don't worry about the rest. And I didn't realize that you slipped one in on me there, Paul. I didn't realize you put in the bad words, buddy. So don't usually throw that up on the screen. And we have Lawrence just chiming in on Shaq Barrett, saying at least he could get sacks unlike Randy. And yeah, Randy had a hard time. Anyway, digressing off of that.
If you take Adrian Peterson, and this is pretty impressive, he missed 2014, pretty much the whole season, came back in 2015, started all 16 games, rushed for almost 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns.
Yeah, yeah. And what year was that?
16.
16, so almost a decade ago. I guess I was elaborating on my timeline there. Albert, what are your thoughts on Javonte hitting the field? When does he come back? Do you think he's back and healthy? Do you think he's on his way?
I really hope that they're gonna take it easy on him, that they are smart, and I would put him on a pup for the first 4 weeks and let him recover completely and get into the field. Yeah, let him come to the game so he can at least feel the atmosphere and breathe it in. But yeah, take it slow with him, because a minor setback can last an entire year.
This is true. We want Javonte long term. We know what he's capable of. We'd like to see him not re-injure early. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. He's out there. He's in paths. It's early. Jody, what are your thoughts, man? When do we see him?
I mean, if he's doing what he's doing now and come training camp, I can see where. I mean, he's not going to be cleared for contact, and he won't play any preseason games. But I can see him being cleared for contact week 1, and do I want to see 30 carries week 1? No, but I can see
You can see touches, huh?
10 touches or something.
Hmm.
If he's cleared, I don't see.
Uh-oh.
One
That,
of
that,
those
that might have been
will.
that might have been a really big gust of wind that took Jody out at
Yeah,
this point.
if he's
So
cleared for contact week 1
yeah,
and he's full go, I can't see what sitting him 2 or 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks does just to appease. If he's at some point he's going to have to go out and get hit.
this is true, man. And if Sean Payton has his way, I think that'll be happening sooner than we like. I wanted to bring this one up because it's Paul jumping in and says, laughing at me, throwing his comment up from earlier, said, y'all are great. Well, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, don't need to be on the Facebook police or the YouTube police or anything for throwing up any bad comments. But thank you, and we think you guys are great. Appreciate everyone that's stuck with us all this way. I'm going to throw this one back over around to Jody just one more time because there was someone that was feeling lean and mean. I think that you might want to talk about when it comes to who's looking good
Wait.
in as far as phase 2. Who could we be talking about, Jody?
Since we don't have a lot of time, I'm not going to go deep down this rabbit hole.
Thank you, goodness. Oh, thank goodness. I know that we could really send Jody down a rabbit hole with a few comments like this. So appreciate you keeping it brief. It does look like you might be locked up just a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to let you take it away, buddy.
If you look at the pictures from Russ from last year to this year, he's lost. You can see it in his face and body and different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he he knows that this is make or break for him. It's time to get serious. And when he had his best years, that's the playing weight he was at. Did he come in? My opinion, he came in overweight last year, knowing he could lose it in OTAs or in training camp. They had soft training camp, and he was never able to do it. And I think that caused some of the injuries. The extra weight, he's not used to playing with it, wasn't used to running with it.
Mm-hmm.
And from all accounts, he's looked sharp. I mean, I know Payne isn't going to say he doesn't look sharp, but I mean, it is a good sign. I think Russ is focused, and yeah, that was step one. I mean, he lost the weight right away. This was reported 3 months ago that he was already losing weight, and so.
And phase 1 didn't hurt.
Right.
Phase 1, he took phase 1 to heart. I think that's what we saw. Albert, your thoughts on lean and mean Russell Wilson?
Yeah, and we can see it in the pictures, but you also can hear from the other players. He is
Good point.
He is motivated. He's the first one in the locker room, the first one on the field. He trains the hardest, and from what the other players and Mike McClinchy had a real nice story about it. But yeah, he is in awe. It almost looks like he is in awe with Russell Wilson, and even a former
competitor
opponent is in awe of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot of things. And now he is playing with him, and it even jumps to a whole new level. Mm-hmm. That says a lot.
All right, man. We hit Pookie. We hit Russ. Is there anybody else that you want to hit, Albert? Anybody else that you're excited as we exit phase 1, go into phase 2? I'll go back around the horn to Jody after you, and then I got a few names if you guys don't hit them.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Tim Patrick back and see what he can do, and hopefully he will get better out of the start blocks than Sutton last year.
Yeah, be interesting to see how much he tests the field. Like I said, didn't sound like he was participating too much last week, but we'll have one more stint on OTAs, goes to 13th, 14th, and 15th before we have that big break till training camp. Jody, a name that you're looking for in OTAs, take phase 2 that you're excited for outside of now. What, we got Tim Patrick, we got Pookie, we got Russell Wilson. Any other name, buddy?
Yeah, I have three guys. One, Jerry Judy. He's going in. I mean, he had that connection with Russ late. Go
Mm-hmm.
in and take this number one job. They give you your fifth year and go with it. He's one. Two for me is Drew Sanders. From all reports, he was just dynamite in the first little mini camps, and I he's gonna push for playing time. And I'm excited. And the third guy for me is Randy Gregory.
Mm.
He's should be healthy. Um, he needs to stay healthy, and I hope Denver puts him in a position where he doesn't have to be on the field. 99% of the time. Let him do what he does because before he got hurt, he was Denver's best defensive player last year.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Just do it in my digging. Like I said before I got on the show, sounds like Gregory's looking healthy, looking really good. Unlike last year, he came in, he was already injured, he was rehabbing. During this time, he's coming in and he's taking full reps and looking pretty dang good. And that's what we need to hear if we want to get production out of Randy Gregory. I'll limit mine to three as well, I guess. Boy, the one that when I was going around, the one that excited me the most was this one, guys. Who do you think was our best offensive lineman last year? I'll throw that out real quick. Jody, what's the first name that comes to mind?
Quinn Miners, Quinn Miners was, but
Okay, now that's it. That's all,
Quinn
that's all I need.
Miners.
Quinn Miners. All right. Albert,
Quinn minus.
a lot of people are saying that. And just to let you know, reports are about Quinn Miners. Man, he's put on some upper body muscle, some weight. He's looking good. He looks like he can anchor better. He looks like he's a better man, and he's been kind of the talk, I guess you could say, if there is any chatter, especially along that offensive line, especially a guy that's been coming back and the guy that's been progressively getting better every single year he's been in the league. For him to come in, a lot was said about maybe Hackett's scheme had guys like Miners, like Cushenberry, get smaller, be speedier, and now the opposite is true, obviously, under Sean Payton. We're going to be a pounding team. So these guys are bulking up, and Miners is looking quite well, from what I understand, and looking the right part. Not just the belly, literally putting on the muscle in the upper half, and can really anchor himself, really stretch, get to guys, pull it back into his frame. And, man, if Miners is working with Powers and McGlinchey and Bowles and Cushenberry's getting this system and he's putting on a little weight as well, I'm excited, man. But Miners is one that just stood out to me. Another one was a guy that maybe it went underneath the radar just a little bit. Running back that was brought in one Jaleel McLaughlin. And Jaleel McLaughlin, if you weren't familiar with him, he came out of Youngstown State. Put up last year. He put down 2,316 yards in running yards, just running yards last year. That was on 345 carries. He had 33 touchdowns. He had another 10 receptions for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I talked about it and maybe teased it a little bit earlier. He had 10 kick returns for 148 yards on top of it. All-purpose yards last year, 2,526. He led the NCAA in yards rushing. He's a Denver Bronco, guys, and he's only 5'9", 183 pounds, and he's turning heads, man. He is a change of pace back from everything else we have. Pirine, downhill, bruiser. Javonte Williams, when he gets back, downhill, bruiser. When we talk about Jaleel McLaughlin, here's a guy that is literally a speedster, and they said that he made one cut, and I know it's OTAs, but he made one cut, and they said, and nobody would have caught him after that. Wouldn't have mattered if you could tackle or not. So really excited what I heard there. Last but not least, guys, another guy that under the radar, undrafted free agent, Art Green, guys, and he's a cornerback, and it's again just a name that's out there. Not a lot of people have heard of, but the chatter has been that he is looking fantastic in that cornerback position. The Denver Broncos have been able to bring in cornerbacks that have been undrafted and been able to make production out of that out of that position. So that's my last one. I could have went through a lot of different names. There's been some great names that have been floated out there, but for me, Art Green, cornerback. Don't get me wrong; he'll have a hard time getting some good playing time on this roster. There's a lot of good guys in front of him, but he's turning some heads. Jaleel McLaughlin and Quinn Miners, guys. Quinn Miners, if he's a bruiser and a beast, oh, look out, guys! Look out! Broncos will be unbeatable in the run game, in my opinion, especially if Cushenberry makes the turn that I'm expecting and no one else is. I'll just say that right now. I'm going to be the biggest Cushenberry fan until he proves me otherwise. I'm excited what he's going to do because everybody, man, everybody has this guy written off, trying to put the 7th-round rookie in his spot, get him off the roster. He's the weak point. I heard who was it? They said I saw a tweet the other day. They said if the Broncos line was a smile, the smile would be Michael Strahan. If you're not familiar, Michael Strahan has a huge gap right in the middle of his 2 front teeth. Cushenberry has not been getting the love, guys. I'm going to give him some love. I'm thinking that you get in Streif in here as the offensive line coach. You get the strength and conditioning that's completely changed. You put guys around him he can truly trust now. Not only as Miners now in his 3rd year, but you have guys like Powers, McGlinchey, that can really bring it out. Sean Payton, that can really bring this around. I'm expecting big things from Cushenberry. I think the Broncos are as well, but I digress, man. And that was a rant, buddy. Hey, guys, I'm sorry about that, man. It sounded like a Jody rant. I went off of my three players. Guys,
I only got to choose one.
Did you only choose one?
Yeah.
Oh, get us your other 2, buddy. I'm so sorry, man. Wrapping us up with our last 2, and then we will get out of here, man. I can't believe I overtook you and just gave you 1. Go ahead, buddy. What's your other 2?
Josie Jewell. I think Josie Jewell is going to make a big, big step. He wants to get paid too. And I'm thinking that we will see a lot of our older quarterback from last year, that he will have a big step up in game as well. What's his name? From last year, he had remember he had the 4 pass interferences.
Damari Mathis.
Damari Mathis. I think we will see a big leap from Damari Mathis as well.
Very good, buddy. Sorry, I can't believe I did that to you, man. I was like so wrapped up in what I wanted to say, and look at you guys all giggling. I appreciate it. Michelle jumping in saying, so our new tagline needs to be "Let's pound them." Yeah, I think we're going to be pounding the ball pretty dang hard, Michelle. I think we're going to be wearing down opponents, and just when they get worn down from that running game, we're going to go over the top and surprise them with the pass. So expect to see things like that, in my opinion. All right, guys. Since I went off on a tirade and even overtook Albert, we should at least give Albert the opportunity to give some final thoughts before we get out of here until next week. Bud.
Yeah, I really hope that they're gonna be gentle with Pookie, and I'm really looking forward to the new season. And if you had to buy a jersey now, if you had to, which one would it be?
If I was
Russell Wilson.
If I'm gonna do a jersey right now, I like Mims. I would probably do a Mims if I was going to do a player off this roster right now. I'm just excited for the upside, the long term. How about you, buddy?
Mine will be Miners.
Quinn Miners. Very good, buddy.
Quinn Miners. Yep.
Very good. Jody, man. Final thoughts for the Denver Bronco Roundup faithful who stuck with us for about an hour and 15 minutes.
I got a couple. Congrats to the Notre Dame lacrosse team, national champs.
There you go, buddy. Of course, you would. The Notre Dame fan here, he would.
Notre Dame.
Look at that! I didn't even notice the shirt. I'm sorry, man.
2. Russ is really focused. You can see it. He's lost the weight. and after this year, people are not going to be saying how Seattle won this trade and everything. Russ is going to get back to form, and I can't wait for that. And then starting tomorrow, Nuggets. No, tomorrow. No, with Thursday.
Thursday.
Sorry, Thursday.
Thursday.
There's the Thursday.
The Nuggets versus Heat, game one. Nuggets first time in the finals.
In Denver.
In Denver.
Game one.
Reports were $1,000 and up for a ticket.
Yeah. Tim Patrick actually even said these tickets are crazy. Were y'all going to watch the game?
So I'm really excited for that. It's the first time ever in the finals, and hopefully they can finish it off.
Yeah, bud. That's a good call out. Maybe even stole that from me, but I stole that out from underneath me, not knowing so. So, guys, I just want to say thank you to everyone that joined in. We had a ton of people that joined in, whether it was Clayton, whether it was Michael Ronquillo, whether it was Roy, whether it was, Paul, who's trying to slip in bad words, Michelle Knoppers, my sister Leanna. Guys, I really appreciate it. When you guys go out here, you become part of the show like this. We appreciate it so much. It's amazing having a fan base like you guys joining us every single week. We've been doing this for a while now. I'd have to look at how many episodes we've done, guys, but we're getting along in the episode count, and it's because of all of our fans like you guys. It's all those likes, those shares, those subscribes, those help us out a ton. Like I said, sharing with those fellow Bronco fans, we appreciate it so much. I do want to say, because guys, we are brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Check out Rocky Mountain Sports Network. You can check out their website at rockymountainsn.com. Guys, that's a great place to be getting all your Nuggets talk, man, because it's an exciting time. Nuggets have never made it to the finals. Now they're here, and they're not only in the finals, but they're hosting the finals. They are the number one seed. Miami has to be ran through Denver. Hey, to be 100% honest, Lakers fan first. Was tough to see my Lakers go down 0-4, but what a team the Denver Nuggets are, and love to see parade after parade after parade in Mile High Country, guys. So, gentlemen, appreciate you jumping on the show. Appreciate our sponsor, Willow Seasonings. Again, check them out, willowseasonings.com. Get your spices, your rubs, your sauces. DBR 2023 in your checkout code. That'll save you 15%, and you're getting some award-winning seasonings and sauces. Guys, we're going to get out of here until next week, but join us every Thursday, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. right now. Denver Bronco Roundup, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Always appreciate you guys being part of the show, and I think we'll get out of here with a little Mile High salute. It's been a while, guys. Get out of here. All right, have a good night, guys. See you next week.
Good week.